There's never a dull moment, is there, people? Like, we have one thing followed by another thing in crypto. They're not small things either. I mean, we just are recovering, I guess is the word, from the SEC FUD. SEC going after Binance and Coinbase almost simultaneously, like 24 hours difference. Articles like this have come out basically saying that the SEC can't touch DEXs for various reasons why. It's really good because Ivan Tech literally just covered this article, so I don't need to. Now, the next then flows on this like same talking point, but again, that's how a narrative is spotted and detected. If you ask me, not that anyone does. And also, this article here, again, like trying to put a square peg into a circular shaped hole. Now, the next thing is the Tether FUD. So, what are we seeing? I'm just barely understanding what is going on. It seems as if, I could be wrong, because again, I don't use Curve, something about the pools, the main pool, is being stacked differently. So usually, I'm guessing this would look more evenly balanced, but for whatever reason, people are changing out, and all of a sudden, there's a lot of at-risk USDT on the market. This is my assumption. Based on briefly looking at these figures, having a quick read, skim over this article. Now, it said here, there has been claims that it's not actually backed one for one, and then it came out saying this individual is saying they're ready to redeem any amount. It's easy to be spooked, I guess. So maybe this is just a big move by a mastermind who's able to spook entire markets with lots of capital. Who knows? So I thought, well, now's probably a good time to actually look at what is Tether, because I've heard some stuff about it, and it's either backed one for one, which is fine, or it's could be akin to the largest Ponzi scheme ever in existence, which happens to be a cryptocurrency. And I hope it's not that. So I thought, well, I'll check Investopedia, go through, have a look what it says. Backed one for one, has had some regulatory issues before. It does issue across multiple chains and does have multiple other currencies that it is backed by. Okay, so yeah, all right. So what is Tether? How does it work? Again, I'm going to Forbes here, so it's like shit. Okay, again, I'm no expert in this space. I just know enough to get by. Now, Tether is a stable. Goes on how it works. Basically, okay, so this is how it works. Reportedly, how a user defines fiat currency into Tether's reserve, selling fiat to buy USDT. Tether then issues a corresponding digital amount into tokens. USDT can then be sent, stored, or exchanged. So it basically converts energy. You could say that. I don't know where I heard that first. I've been saying that for a long time, and I'm hearing it everywhere, so it's really good. Believe that or not. Now, when a user deposits fiat, so you're taking your hard-earned money because you put the time and effort in to earn that money, however you've done that. Whether it's an OnlyFans or shoveling shit, who knows? And then you're taking it, getting dirty fiat, and then you're transferring it into Tether reserves. So you're getting crypto for it. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. But my question is, who are these people doing this? Because okay, let's have a look. What, like people like God whales and Bitcoin are just selling their crypto and then depositing it to get fiat? Like, why? Like, how does that work? How is it backed one to one? Okay, so this is where my mind begins to dissect some things. However, I need more data and more facts. So I went to their webpage, transparency. Tokens are pegged one to one, matching all fiat currency, backed one to one, 100% by Tether reserves. Published once a day. It has the current balances, and they're huge, relatively speaking. Now, I haven't looked at some large financial institutions across the world, but maybe they're bigger. I don't know. Maybe they're smaller countries and not as big. But for a cryptocurrency, total authorized. I'm guessing total authorized means someone's What does that mean? Like, I'm not understanding this because that's not making sense to me. 46 billion less authorized but not issued. So maybe authorized means that it has to be the reserve amount 1-to-1. So total authorized would mean, okay, we can have up to this amount in simple terms, and we can have 46 billion less the authorized but not issued. So 1.6 billion with some decimals is not sorry, with some commas is not issued. Okay, on Tron, 37 billion with a B. I had to look that up if that's billion. Okay, that's a lot. On Solana, Omni, Avalanche, Tezos, Algorand, Polygon, nothing. Oh, sorry, reading from the bottom top. EOS, Liquid, Statement, SLP, Near, and this goes on. There's some large numbers. So what I'm understanding from this, there's Euro Tether, so there's also saying other countries. Looks like Chinese Tether, Ethereum. Again, I'd have to go through see how they work. Haven't done that. But there's some large figures here. So there is supposedly, allegedly, reportedly, as per the website, this many assets have basically an equal amount of liabilities. I'm guessing they're considering the liabilities, the tokens issued and issued out, because they're 1-for-1 redemption. Shareholder capital cushion, 2 billion. Okay. So I understand how banking works in terms of the 10-to-1 money multiplier. And you deposit money into a bank, it then gets sent around the economy. Each time the amount diminishes, goes up to 10 times. Economics 101 again, and that is how banks are able to take the amount you have and borrow more, 10 times that amount that gets pushed through the economy. Okay, how is it working with Tether? I guess that's a part of the economy, but who is depositing these assets? They're big numbers, and it's not a 10-to-1 ratio here, or is it? Maybe they're taking out loans, who knows? I just can't get my head around it. So anyway, so I thought I'd have a look. They do have also reports and reserves, right? So back around December, I started hearing about it, and I'm like, there's got to be more. Like just at this point in time, here in the Tether fund, because wouldn't it be convenient right at this point in time if something was orchestrated, where we've seen FTX, Celsius, multiple exchanges, multiple scams. I'm losing track of everything that's going wrong. Chains failing. Terra Luna. Like what more? And now the SEC fund against, I guess, US based and against, the centralized exchanges. What more could try and put a nail in the coffin for crypto? Attempt to. Well, it would be the Tether fund. And surprisingly enough, it's reared its ugly head again. So I'll go through. Again, this is all in an unofficial manner. Just my thoughts on this particular cryptocurrency. And they do have independent auditors report on the consolidated reserves report, right? So they also have a consolidated reserve report. So I pulled up the most recent one. Goes through. Okay, yep. Again, I think they said the BDO in Italy is my understanding, IT. And for whatever reason, they went with them, and they've put their name to this. So if you go back and have a look what auditors can and can't do, it's probably worth looking up. Now, I tried to find the consolidated reserves report, which they present, which I did find. And what I did find was, again, large numbers, 81. So again, I think that as they said, they do update it on the fly. Where you go to the current balances. And you can see large numbers. Currently 86, close enough to being even. Now, this one, another 5 billion in assets has been created. Liabilities, is fluctuated since, but up into the right manner. Now, and then I guess the discrepancy could be due to the shareholder capital cushion. Now it does explain method used, etc., etc. values, IFRS, okay, cool. International Financial Reporting Standards, Section 9. Then it has this. This is the report I'm looking at. So I'm not sure if BDO have a more in-depth report, or this is the report presented to them with footnotes. And the footnotes represent, the cash and cash equivalent, other short-term deposits, U.S. Treasuries. See, it's got number 5, section 5, overnight reserve repurchase agreements, it goes on to explain where the amount in US dollars is allocated. So when you deposit $1 in fiat into Tether, you are getting a 1 Tether, or close enough to, in return. Now, I actually don't know how to do this process. I haven't seen it. It would be really interesting. I should probably have a look to how to actually do that. I'm guessing it would be similar to USDC, whereby you can actually redeem it 1-for-1. So when it depegged, people were freaking out because they weren't actually going through the correct process and being able to redeem 1-for-1. So people were able to capitalize on that arbitrage opportunity by purchasing USDC when it was less than its pegged amount, because it is redeemable 1-for-1. Similar to Tether. But if in the off chance Tether is not, and there is actual real FUD around this, what could happen? Let's play that game. Now, that game would be, people would be left holding Tether, and they would, for whatever reason, want to redeem Tether for the fiat value. Now, that causes, as per the article we read before, them to sell down the assets, which would be interesting on the actual economy at the moment, because we've seen the rate not pause, the rate skip, and that flow-on effect to, say, things like treasury bonds, cash deposits, corporate bonds, and things like that, secured loans, other investments, even the price of Bitcoin itself, but specifically, US treasury bills and things like that. Certificate of deposits, I guess they call them in the US. Term deposits here, what they call in Australia. Now, if people started hoarding Tether, and all at once there's a bank run on Tether, at that point in time, you would be able to tell if they're back truly 1-for-1. Because if they start selling these various instruments that they hold, and if they do have them, I'm sure that's fine. And at the speed at which people would be exiting and exchanging 1-for-1, I mean, sure, Tether would continue on, assuming they have the reserves. But what would happen? I'm just curious now. But yeah, that's all I got for the moment. These numbers are really, really large, and I would just love to see. But see, this is only Tether would be privy to the information, the accounts, proprietary, I guess, information. Who holds what? Because this is all you have to go by. This here, like, it hasn't even got what type. So what I would love to do one day, I'm gonna have to go onto the to-do list, is go out and purchase 1 treasury bill. Like, how would a retail investor do that? How would a retail investor get access to money market funds? What type of money market funds are there? What cash and bank deposits are there? Would I be using? How many are there? Non-US treasury bills, which country? Corporate bonds, which corporations? Precious metals, what type? Bitcoins, how? Like, how are they being held? Other investments, what other investments? Secured loans, at what rate? Would be good to know how much is owing, what institutions. Things like that would have made me feel more at ease viewing this particular report. That's all I could find. Now, the reason this is valid, I feel, is because people may disagree. When a bank run occurs, so this is referring to, I got to admit, Tether does have a better portfolio, if this is true, which is the auditors, this audit report is what is being reported, and this is the actual figures as per that date, you know, it changes, and currently we can see the transparency page at 86 billion. And back to my point, at least we can say that the asset category was more spread out than Silvergate's was, because if you go back and have a look into that, whoever was controlling their risk appetite in regards to investments should have been doing a better job, because they failed miserably, literally. Now, when a bank run, so in this article, it explains some of that, and then it explains when a bank run occurs, the institutional typically needs to start selling assets to fulfill the demand for withdrawals from depositors. And that's exactly what Silvergate did. It unloaded a considerable chunk of its securities portfolio. Again, even with the bank, it's not clear what exactly what it sold earlier, but its portfolio did include US government debt, agency securities, and municipal bonds. In other words, some of the quote-unquote safest securities available. So maybe they have a better process, and US Treasury bills they are realizing that in a longer US Treasury bill, if you're locking it up early, like 53 million of it, and the rates are moving against you, that's going to kind of suck. But yeah, that's just what I'm pointing out, you know. Silvergate actually failed. Tether, again, I just hope it doesn't, because that would truly be like, what would you say, the boomers attacking crypto? I don't know what you call it. The powers that be attacking crypto. Like, they've already gone after the banks, they're going after the exchanges, they're going after the banks, I should say, that were literally providing services to crypto. Now they're limiting crypto services, even here in Australia. Now there was so these group are quite good for what I've seen so far. Again, I just came across them through some centralized exchanges that have this logo, and I'm like, that's interesting. I didn't even know they existed. There was a media release whereby they were out openly coming out, pushing back against the banking limits on crypto payments here in Australia. So this was June 14th. This was literally yesterday. Let's have a look if it opens up. Will it load? Yep. Okay. It goes through and explains these sorts of things, you know. Worth a read. Yeah. I'm just hoping that this Tether thing is purely Tether FUD. Someone's trying to spook the market. But if you go in, drill a little bit deeper, there is a lot of capital, and where is it coming from? Maybe you got, I don't know. I don't want to theorize about it, but there's a lot of capital there. It's a very large figure for cryptocurrency, for a stable cryptocurrency. I have heard, basically, without Tether, the prices could not be reached in some cryptocurrency. Maybe I'm wrong. I have heard also, during some literal Ponzi phases, the price of Bitcoin pumped. So maybe you could add those two together and come with a similar sort of conclusion. I don't know. Yeah, they do have an audit report from Italy, from BDO, and this is the actual report that you are going from. Nothing to, like I said, which treasury bills. The US Treasury bill categorizes US Treasury company bills with residual average maturity of less than 30 days. Okay, so as the rates are moving against them, 90 days, average maturity less than 90 days, short term. Okay, cool. But yeah, all right, that's all I've got. Yeah, it's good to see this already been covered. Good to see pushback from, you know, I guess non-for-profit organizations. Basically, my understanding, a group of crypto enthusiasts who are getting together in a more professional manner. Maybe that's what all of crypto needs. I don't know, because they're coming after the crypto banks. They're coming after actual centralized exchanges in the US, and yeah, now Tether's rearing its ugly head, and we have to wait and see if you know they actually have their reserves. Because if they don't, most likely it's going to get exploited. That's all I got to say. All right, peace, free speech, signing out. It's never ending. I bet you tomorrow something else happens, so I'll sign in again then. Peace. That's crazy.